So the next step that we're going to do, this is it. This is the final step. Now, I really had wanted to make these websites fully functional with all the content. It wouldn't have been that hard. Really, we're 1 week short. That's all we needed was one more week. But you know what? We don't have it, and we got to get this done. So I don't think it's fair to push you any further than that to actually put the images in and stuff. There's actually a lot of prep to put your images into a website, you know, resizing and flattening and all that other stuff. So we're not going to go there. But what you have done so far is you've created a menu, you've got a title and a logo of some sort, you've done rollovers of some sort, and you should have your dummy text in your content area. You should have set your padding and done all that sort of stuff. And basically, when you go to Safari, this is what you should have, okay? And it will look really good. You know, and check, make sure your footer, you should have some information. I don't have any information in the footer. Make sure there's information in the footer too, you know, like a bogus phone number, that sort of thing. Now, here's what we do from there. We need to add a title, and I briefly showed you that in the demo. Okay, we're going to do it again really quickly, and I'm going to show you how that goes. I've already got the code screenshots put on my website, okay, but we're just going to do that very quickly. Because what we need to do is all the pages are going to look the same, and so I need to be able to identify which one is which, right? So you're just going to go in here, you're going to find your content, and you're just going to do bracket, H1, end bracket, and then for the index page, which is your home page, we're going to say welcome, just like that, okay? And when you do that, save and refresh, you'll see that that pops up, and it will be in there, it'll be huge, okay? Way too big, and also be over to the left. I myself like the titles to be in the center. So let's configure this with our CSS. So you can go up, it doesn't really matter where it goes, okay, and you're going to type it in here. Now this is one of those CSS commands that does not use the pound or the period. It just says H1, okay? Squiggly bracket, and the squiggly bracket. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to say font size, boom, and you can just start playing around. Whichever one looks good with your web page. And so I'll, 20 pixels seems to, I like 20 pixels. And then the other thing that you can do is text, align, center, left, right, whatever. And the H1 is a div, basically. I mean, essentially that's what it is. Not really, but and it takes up the entire width of the content area. So if I save and then I refresh, that's a better title. 20 pixels, that sort of thing. The other thing that you'll notice is it has a lot of space above and below it. That's fine below because we've got the start of a new paragraph. But here, that's a lot of empty space. It looks awkward, number one. Number two, it's waste of space. So what I need to do is I need to adjust my padding on my content. So right now the padding is set to 20 pixels all the way around. So I'm going to take my top padding and I'm going to set it to 5. Let's see how that looks. That looks very good. There we go. I mean, I could even set it to less if I really wanted to. 2. Yeah, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But that looks balanced now. I've got about the same amount of space to the top, to the bottom of the title. It looks good. It looks natural. And let's go back and preview it. And yeah, that works. So now we are ready to make our pages, okay? And our links. Now we're going to do this the smart way, which is a tiny bit more complicated in one way, but simpler in another. What we're going to do is we're going to set the links for our buttons, okay, before we copy and paste our pages. The reason why we do this is so that you only have to do it once. If you don't do this, then you'll have to do it on all 4 pages. And that's not a big deal, but it just does get kind of annoying, okay? So I'm just going to click on one of my buttons, or if you've got a menu that is text-based, you highlight the text, okay, just like I did there. And then you're going to go down here, and you can see where it says link. And you're going to type in index.html for the home button. Okay, your home page always is index.html. It must be named index.html. It cannot be named home.html. So if it is, you need to change that. Okay. Then I click on the About Me link. And I go down and I type about.html. Now, keep these simple. I hit return. I go back. I click on the portfolio button. I type in portfolio.html. I'm keeping it nice and simple. And lastly, contact. And I type in contact.html. Hit return. Now I'm going to save it. And let's just preview this and watch. It's going to give us an error. But if I click About Me, it tries to go to a page called about.html, which it can't find, and it says I can't find the file. Go back. Click on Portfolio. Same thing. Click on Contact. Same thing. This is actually good because what it's showing us, and if I click on Home, it stays where it is because it's on the index.html. This is actually good, even though this is an error. That means that the code is correct and it's trying to go to a new page. So now it's time to give it that page. So we're going to go back to Dreamweaver. Make sure that there is no asterisk above the name index.html in the tab here. What that means is you haven't saved the file yet. I've done that multiple times, and when you start duplicating, it'll duplicate only the version that's been saved. So if you've made a bunch of changes and you haven't saved them, and then you start duplicating, those changes won't come across. So essentially, I'm just going to right-click, and I'm going to say Edit, Duplicate. And I've got index-copy over here, and we're going to change that name. So then I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to say Edit, Rename, or just click on it once and let it go. And let's do, what's our first one? About. So about.html. Now, let's go back to Safari, and I'm going to click the About Me button. Now notice, didn't change, did it? But if you look at the address, I am on that page now. Yay! Okay. So if I go back to Dreamweaver, what I need to do is I need to go to the About page, double click on it, and I'm going to go into my content, and I'm going to change that title, the H1, to About Me. Save. Now let's go back and refresh. Now it says About Me. And so I can sit there and click back and forth between the pages, and you can see that I actually am on a different page. The reason why it doesn't look like I am is because the dummy text is identical. And of course, if you were really doing a web page, you would start to change this content, and so therefore it would look different. Now we're going to do the other two pages. Now that's interesting. It gets bigger. So I screwed up my rollover there. Haha. Anyway, okay, so let's go back to Dreamweaver. So now I've got that set up. Let's duplicate the next one. So Edit, Duplicate. Okay. We have another one that says About, Copy here. And we're going to change this one to Portfolio. Hit Return. Double click on it. Go down here and change the title to Portfolio. Save. And then lastly, we duplicate it one last time, change the name to contact.html. Now here's the important thing. Oh, and we change the title. Contact Me. Here's the really important thing. This only works if you name the files exactly what you linked the buttons to. So let's just screw it up on purpose. Well, first let's go back and check it out. So Home, I can go to Portfolio, I can go to Contact Me, About Me, whatever. That really bothers me that that is wrong. But that's okay. It looks kind of cool, actually. But you can see all the buttons work on every page. You should test every page, every button. So I'll go Home, then I'll click About Me, then I'll click back, Portfolio, then I'll click back, then Contact, then I'll click back, then I'll go to the About Me page, and then I'll click Portfolio, then I'll go back, then I'll click Contact, then I'll go back, and you get the idea. I click on every button to make sure everything works. But then, if that all works, you're done. That's it. Your website is finished. That's all you need to do to hand it in. Because honestly, that's the hard part. Doing all the content in the middle, that's the easy part, or easier. But let's screw this up on purpose. So if you click on the About Me and you look at my link, the link says about.html. Remember that. Don't go and rename this About Me like that. Because if I do that, it won't work. Okay? If I do that, now I can't find the file because I changed the name, and the name is different than what the link is. So that's the important part. It's actually really simple. It makes a lot of sense. Okay? If you type about.html in the link, you've got to have the file name be about.html. If it's anything else, it won't find the file. Okay? It's very simple. But once you get this done, you are finished with your website. That is it. You are done with your projects for the year. Okay? So that's nice. Double check everything. Make sure you've got dummy text. Make sure you've got a title. Make sure your menus work. Make sure you've got a footer, because that's the one thing I don't have on here is a footer. Okay? And make sure your padding is all set to your content and everything starts to look good. Okay? That's it.